Hello, everybody. I'm Stephen Xiarhos, your Massachusetts State Representative, and I thought I'd take a few minutes to tell you what's the latest on Beacon Hill in Boston. First of all, I'm proud to be your state representative. I actually get to represent 42,000 people, which is called the 5th Barnstable District. I cover half of Barnstable, all of Sandwich, about half of Bourne, and even a little bit of Plymouth. And I love it. I'm in my second year and try to be as transparent as I can to let you know what's going on. Please follow me on Facebook. We do a lot of stuff on there. We have over 10,000 followers and we can really keep you informed. But some of the things that we're working on, I think it's important that you know. First of all, I'm on several committees. Those are the areas that the governor and the team put me on, and I love it. So I'm the ranking member of the Veterans and Federal Affairs Committee. So any veterans that are out there, any military families that live in the district, please come to me. We will help you get whatever you need. I'm also the ranking minority member on the State Regulatory Committee. So that kind of goes over any new rules or laws that affect businesses and foundations and things like that. I'm also a member of the Joint Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee, which is perfect because I was a police officer for 40 years and public safety is one of my strong points. I'm also a member of the Elder Affairs Committee. So your state representatives are all on committees. There's so many, but those are the ones that I'm on, and I think it's important that you all know that. I also am serving on the Police Commission. That's a special commission that I was assigned by the governor, and we've done a lot of work in that area as well. So as your state rep, those are some things that we do. We serve on committees. We hear, and this is amazing, 7,000 bills. 7,000 bills have been filed in this 2-year session. This is the second year of my session. Remember, the first year of my career, the State House was closed. So it's kind of different. Now it's open. I love it. We have an office, room 39. I'd love you to come and visit. We had the Sandwich High School state champ Blue Knight hockey team come. We had the 8th graders come. That's the People's House in Boston. And I'll be there later today. That's what we do. We serve you there. That's your building. Come in, see it. It's beautiful. So much history in Massachusetts. I'd love you to have it come. And I'm also on caucuses, which are like a voluntary group that I've joined. And those are animal care and protection. I love animals. We have 6 at home, all rescued. I love them. And we care for them and protect them. So one of the bills that we're working on, hopefully it gets heard and voted on today, is a pesticide control bill that you may not have heard of. But basically, when you have pests dealt with at your home, sometimes those black boxes, they have pesticides in there that what they do is they'll kill the rodent, but if another animal eats that rodent, now they get infected. And what happens is our wildlife all across the Commonwealth, all across Cape Cod, can be affected by eating something that's been basically poisoned. So this bill is important to me. We don't need our hawks and all the other beautiful animals that are out there suffering. So this bill would help address that. That's part of being on the Animal Care and Protection Caucus. I'm also on the Food System Caucus. We can't let people go hungry. Nobody in America should be hungry. We do a lot of volunteering, food for vets, and anything to do with food. I try to volunteer and give out as much or share. We call it sharing food with others. Coastal Erosion Caucus, that's big all over the Commonwealth. I volunteer to be on that, mainly because what's happening in Sandwich. If you live on Cape Cod Bay, you know the erosion and the damage to homes. That also occurs in West Barnstable at Sandy Neck Beach, where, you know, that's part of our district. Regional transit, that's another caucus I'm on. That obviously is important to help people get around. And not everybody has a vehicle, and now with gas prices so high, it's a huge issue. So getting people around on buses is important, and that's a committee I'm on as well. And the last two caucuses are manufacturing. There's all kinds of things that are manufactured in our district, and I'm proud of that. One of them is biofuels. We have a company in Sandwich that takes cooking oil from restaurants and collects it and turns it into fuel. That's right here in Sandwich, and that's one of the manufacturing groups that we want to make sure people know about and can support. And lastly, as far as caucuses, aviation caucus. That's big to us. We have Gateway Airport, which was called the Barnstable Airport, but now it's called the Gateway Airport. They're going to expand, and the goal is if you want to go to Florida for a trip or somewhere in America or even in the world, you hopefully can fly out of Gateway Airport in Barnstable. That's the plan. It's growing, and it's in our district, so we do what we can to help them. We also have Cape Cod Community College, and if you don't know, they have an aviation program, and that's over at the Plymouth Airport, which I do have part of that area as well. So aviation, fixing planes, flying them is part of what we do. But really, the most important thing I think you should all know, what does your state rep do? First of all, there's 160 of us. I'm just one of 160 from Provincetown to Pittsfield and back, you know. Men, women, all kinds of people I've met in Boston. I love doing this, and I love meeting them. Everybody has different views, and that's how government works. But really, it's constituent services. What that means is if you live in the 5th Barnstable District, I call it the Fighting 5th, come to us for issues that involve the state, not necessarily local government, but state government. Come to me, email us, call us, and we'll do everything we can to help you. Some examples that stand out. There's a nurse that lives in Sandwich, or did. She fell just by accident and is paralyzed, quadriplegic. And because she couldn't work, she lost her home. That's a real story of a person in Sandwich. She's still in a rehab facility, but she needs a place to live when she gets out that has to be able to handle her disability. So we reached out to the people in Sandwich that handle housing, and we got her a place to live, which is those little things that matter a lot. Getting people housing is a huge thing, and someone that is paralyzed through no fault of their own, who served others as a nurse, I'm proud to say we helped her. God bless her. Another example is a woman in Bourne. She lost her leg in an accident and lives in a home in Bourne and has a hard time getting around. But she can't afford rehabbing her home or find someone to do it because everybody's so busy. So I reached out to our friends at Upper Cape Tech Regional School in our district in Bourne. The superintendent, Roger Forgier, is a friend. He said he would have the students do it as long as we could get the materials. I reached out to Tony Shepley at Shepley Lumber in Hyannis, a longtime friend, and he provided $5,000 worth of materials. The students from Upper Cape Tech and their teachers built the ramps and provided this woman a better place to live. That's another small example of things that we can do. And lastly, just recently, a Vietnam-era veteran who lives in Barnstable, he reached out because he was having eye surgery and he had no one that could put the eye drops in his home, in his eyes at his home. Something like that reaches out. We answered. We got the local veterans groups to help. And now that gentleman who deserves it has the simple helper to put drops in his eyes after the surgery that he has. So 3 small examples of constituent services. Reach out if there's anything we can do. I really don't think politically most of the time. I think with my heart. I have a heart of a servant, and that's just the way I was born and raised, and I'd love to keep helping as many as possible. Some of the bills we're working on, that's what we do. We make laws, and it's not easy. And there's 7,000 bills that have been filed. I had about 25, but I thought I'd tell you about some of them. One of my most important was the Nero bill. We've talked about that before, but it came true, right? Remember, I was a police officer in Yarmouth. I was there when, Sergeant Sean Gannon was murdered by a criminal that never should have been out on the street. He was shot and he died. And also his dog, our Yarmouth Police K9 Nero, was shot in the head. That happened 4 years ago, April 12th, 2018. That's why I left the job that I loved and ran for this position. That was the moment, and I'm so proud to have been supported by you and win and do all the things that we do. But that was the moment. Nero bill was in my heart, and I'm proud to say on April 12th, 2022, Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito came to Yarmouth Police Headquarters, and in the building that we built in Sean's memory, the Sean Gannon Training Center, with no tax dollars, all donations, we built a building at Yarmouth Police Headquarters in Sean's memory so police officers and police dogs can train. On April 12th, 4 years exactly to the day, Governor Baker signed the Nero bill into law. So any police dog that is injured in line of duty in the Commonwealth, there's over 300 dogs that serve us and protect us. If they're injured in the line of duty, they have the right to be treated by EMTs and paramedics and placed in an ambulance and brought to the closest veterinary hospital. That's Massachusetts law, and you helped make that happen. Of course, humans come first, but when they're available, we will help save these dogs. They deserve it. And I'm proud to say that we did that. And last week I spent 3 days in Rhode Island helping the Rhode Island legislature pass the Nero bill in Rhode Island. And let's hope it goes all over the nation. Another one is behavioral health, huge issue. Most of what we deal with are mental health issues and or addiction out in the community as a police officer and as a person. A lot of people struggle with mental health and or addiction or both. And I had a bill that called for getting experts in the behavioral health or addiction world to work with local police. And the Sandwich Police do it, the Barnstable Police do it, Yarmouth Police. It's a great idea to have experts help police handle these situations, not only in emergencies, but the follow-up. We want experts that have big hearts, that are trained in what to do, to follow through with that family, to provide the services, to make sure they get better and recover and live a good life. And we can do that. That was one of the bills. And another one is Overdose Awareness Day. Remember, August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day. So many people die from overdoses. You may know someone that has or is struggling. Well, we filed a bill that said on August 31st that we make that a special day in Massachusetts, and it is. And keep that in mind. We need to help our people recover. And those that did pass, we must honor them and remember them and their families. And lastly, I would say a couple of things. Local funding is a big issue that we work on as your state representative. One of them that comes up a lot is the intersection at Route 130 and Quaker Meeting House Road, kind of by the Forestdale School. That's in horrible condition, but that's not a state road. Some of Route 130 is, but that section is not. So the town of Sandwich is working on it. It's a big project because it involves drainage and all kinds of other issues. But how I can help is get some money from the state to help pay for it, and we did. So we have $300,000 in a bond bill that's there to help fix that intersection as soon as we can. Another small thing was we were able to get $150,000 to help Sandwich get power for their buildings when we have power outages. So currently the DPW has the fuel systems that provide gasoline for your police cruisers, ambulances, plows, any town vehicle. When the power goes out, they can't fuel the vehicles. So we were able to get funding to purchase a brand new generator that will come and help power that, so we will never have a problem with fueling up our town vehicles in emergencies. We also did the same thing for Town Hall. When the power goes out, they can't provide informational technology for the town, so a generator, the funding for that was obtained to fix that problem. Those are just little examples of some of the things we do. And some of the bills I'm working on in the future is school security. You know, the tragedy that happened in Texas, that happened, you know, in many places all over America, should never happen. Massachusetts has the strongest gun laws in the country, and I'm proud of that. But it doesn't stop people from doing horrible things, and I think we could do better. So being a police officer for 40 years, and also I was a school resource officer for 7 years. I loved it. I worked in the schools every day, protecting children and teachers and helping them in a million ways. I'll never forget it. I loved it. And Sandwich does the same, and most towns on the Cape do the same. But we should have a school resource officer, in my opinion, at every school in the Commonwealth. Trained school resource officer. So a police officer that's fully trained, but also is trained in how to be a school resource officer. Have them at every school. That's my thought. They work with children. It's not just to protect them, it's to build relationships of a lifetime. I did it. The kids that were 17 and 16 are now in their 40s, and now I know their children, and we just have a bond for life. And school resource officers do a lot of things, and I'd like to see them at every school. I'd also like to see our schools have proper locks and windows, and make them not soft targets. They should be secure, and there's ways of doing that. Not every school in the Commonwealth is as secure as it should be, and we can do that. We should never allow money to overrule someone's life. So we're hoping to get that done. I'm hoping to find funding sources to help towns do it. And I look towards working with everybody to make our schools safer and secure. You know, what's more important than that? There's also a dangerousness bill. We're trying to get that passed. That would close some of the loopholes to not allow criminals, dangerous criminals, to be out on bail if they shouldn't be. If someone is on bail and they cut off their ankle bracelet, that is a misdemeanor. We're trying to make that a felony. And another example would be if someone that's out on bail for a dangerous crime, and now they're in trouble, let's say in Pittsfield, we need to make sure that they tell the local authorities that that person violated their bail or their probation. Currently, that is not a guarantee. So the dangerousness bill closes loopholes to make us all safer. How do I know it? I was a police officer for 40 years, and the murderer of Sean Gannon never should have been on the street, and a bill like this would make sure that didn't happen again. So if you hear about the dangerousness bill, that's something we're working on. And a couple of other things that are big, the bridges, right? You may be wondering what's going on with the Sagamore and Bourne bridges. Remember, those are both in Bourne. So they're both in the Fighting Fifth Barnstable District. And that all comes down to money. Billions of dollars, not millions. So before I took office, there was an agreement made that the federal government would fund the replacement of those bridges. And then when they're done, Mass DOT would take care of the bridges for the future. That was the agreement that was made. And I sit in on meetings every month with the Bourne selectmen, the Sandwich selectmen, our federal senator, Senator Markey, Senator Warren, our Congress people, Bill Keating, state rep like myself, state rep Vieira. We sit in on meetings and we try to get the funding from the federal government first so we can make the plans to replace those bridges. So that's still in the works. Federal funding, billions of dollars we're waiting for. And when that happens, you'll hear about it, and then we'll start doing the plans. And they call it a project of a lifetime. Think about it. Replacing two nearly 100-year-old bridges will happen. It probably won't start for another 5 years, is one of the estimates. But we're working hard on it. It's going to be difficult, but it needs to be done. The bridges are almost 100 years old. And keep in mind, we spend millions of dollars every year, your tax dollars, your money, on keeping them safe. And probably the best idea is to build two brand new ones. That's already been decided. They'll be much wider, much safer, and there'll even be a bicycle lane on the bridges when they come. All right, that's called the project of a lifetime. We're in the middle of that. And lastly, I want you to remember, every month we do office hours with your rep. That's me. And I try to go in my district. So every last Friday of the month, I'm in Barnstable, Sandwich at the town library, and also in Bourne at the community center. Come and see me, tell me what you need, or just spend time together. I'm your state representative. I'm proud to do it and honored to do it. Every last Friday we have office hours. But on the first Friday of the month, we do a cool thing. It's called Coffee with Your Rep. So we've been doing that for, over a year. Different locations in the district. We set up for an hour, come and have coffee and, talk to me. And I can talk to you. It's a simple way to share, relationships and what you need and what I can do to help you. But for the summer, we started something a little different. It's ice cream with your rep. So we did it last month in June, the first Friday at Twin Acres in Sandwich, beautiful ice cream place. And we're doing it again there. So we do it on the first Friday of the month, have ice cream with your rep. It's free. It's from noon to 1. And on July 1st, we're doing it with your pup. So not only come, but bring your dog, and we'll share ice cream together. I have a dog named Zeus. Zeus will be there, and it'll be cool. A couple other things to think in the future before we say goodbye. The old Sandwich Police Station on Route 6A, that's being rehabilitated. That's going to be a veterans food pantry. So that's an area that I do a lot in to help feed people, share food with people. We do it at the base, Joint Base Cape Cod. We have a beautiful building there, but not all veterans can get on the base. So we made an agreement with the town of Sandwich where put a new roof on the building at the old Sandwich Police Station. They're inside now fixing it. And eventually that will be a food pantry and an empowerment center for veterans and military families from all over to come and get help. Remember, blood drives are important. I lost my son, Nicholas, in Afghanistan in war. I wear his pin. That was on July 23rd, 2009. So, it changes your life, and we try to do good things in his name. And one of them is we try to collect blood. So Cape Cod Healthcare has blood drives all over. A lot of times they're in Sandwich at the American Legion. Why I mention it is we need blood. We always do. And remember, when you give blood at a Cape Cod Healthcare blood drive, every drop stays on Cape Cod. None of it is sold. It's all kept on the Cape to help us when we need it. And I'm very proud of that. We do that in Nicholas's memory because he was attacked and he died when they ran out of blood in Afghanistan. And lastly, I give a shout out to a young boy that nearly drowned at Snake Pond. So you probably all know about that. Zohab is a young boy, he's 5. He was at a party at the pond, and tragically he went underwater. Thankfully, people realized it. They did everything right. They got him out, they gave him CPR, and then police and fire and doctors and nurses and helicopters came and they saved his life. But he's still fighting for his life in Boston. So I think of him. And if you're watching this, say a prayer if you could for that family. It's in my heart, and I bet it's in all your hearts. And lastly, be ready for Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen. So in July, every July for 13 years, we do a motorcycle ride through Sandwich. It starts in Bourne at the Sheriff's Department, goes through Bourne, Sandwich, Barnstable, and ends in Yarmouth. It's called Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen. It's in memory of Nick, but also the others that died serving our nation. 16 of Cape Cod's son and daughters have died in America's longest war. And one of them is Jerry DeConto. He was killed in the Pentagon on 9/11. So if you can, support Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen. It has nothing to do with state rep. It's just part of my family's life. It comes through town, over 1,000 motorcycles. You all stand out there and you know, wave a flag or say thank you, and that means a lot to us as riders. And every penny that we raise, every penny is given away to help somebody, and we do it on Nick's birthday, which is February 12th. So on February 12th of this year, he would have been 34. We gave out $34,000 to 34 different groups that are all out there helping people. That's Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen. We do it right after Matt Pacino's Blackbeard Ride. That's on July 10th. Remember Matt Pacino, another Cape Cod young man that was killed in war in Afghanistan. His family lives in Bourne, and they do a ride called Blackbeards. It's in Bourne. That's on July 10th. And then we do Big Nick's Ride on July 17th. Back-to-back hero rides. And that's one way you can give back and live a worthy life of service before self. That's what I try to do. I try to serve with my heart. And if I can ever help you as a state representative or even just a person, reach out. I'm proud to do it. I'm honored to serve you. And I thank you for watching and listening. And we'll see you again soon.